I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We are joined by Tio Noe. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tio Noe. I'm an adventurer with a dinosaur head. That's pretty much it. There's a lot more stuff, but we'll be here all day.
Well, there are some certain advantages to that, and especially depending on where you're searching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you're like foraging for food or something. Probably makes it a lot easier when you do something like that.
Yeah, especially when you're out adventuring.
Yeah, and
Though sometimes it does get in the way of eating ice cream and
oh,
using a spoon.
yeah, that does cause a little bit of problems, but just toss it down, you'll be fine. Maybe a little brain freeze, but other than that, you're fine. No worries.
That's always a problem. I always have to brain freeze.
I have that every time I wake up. It takes a long time for it to thaw, and by then it's time for bed again. How long have you been VTubing?
I have been VTubing for 3 years now.
3 years, so you're practically a veteran when it comes
Yep.
to VTubing. What brought you to the VTuber sphere?
So it's a little bit of a long story. So when I first started seeing VTubers, or when I first introduced to VTubers, it was when Hololive was starting to gain traction back in 2020 during the pandemic.
Right.
And the first VTuber I encountered was Kiryu Coco, a name I'm sure many people are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And another one around the same time being Project Melody. And yes, I'm pretty much watching their clips, popping in their streams once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing them have a good time, laughing, and seeing them make people laugh and such, and have a better day than what was currently going on in the world was really inspired me, because it was something I was like, oh, I want to make people laugh. I want to make their day brighter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started going, I think I'll be a VTuber, and that's how it is.
Now, were you somebody who always wanted to be out on stage and entertain folks, or were you sitting on the sidelines waiting for an opportunity?
That's the biggest irony, because I love making people laugh and stuff, but I'm also horribly terrified of clowns, and I have massive stage fright.
Well, I know how that goes. I mean, when in the radio business, I would talk to hundreds and thousands of people sometimes on the radio, but you put me in front of 10 people when I was younger, and I just freeze up. And there's just something about people's eyes on you.
Yeah. It's I feel like internally they're judging me in their minds. It's what are they thinking about me? Oh my god, am I messing up? Are they saying bad things inside their head, and I can't, and they're sharing it with each other or something?
Yeah. And then there's the old thing, imagine them in their underwear, but that just makes it worse.
Oh yeah, it makes them so much worse.
Oh no, what? Why? But you were able to get over that. What got you over the hump to get behind the microphone and turn it on? Was it scary at first?
It made me a little nervous, yeah, but I think what really got me over was the fact that I don't have so many eyes. I'm not physically looking at so many people look at me, and I think that was maybe more comfortable. And also the fact that the only thing they're seeing is just my VTuber persona, and not me.
Mm.
So what they're seeing, messing up and sort of stuttering and making terrible jokes, was the VTuber me and not the real me.
You have somebody else to blame.
Exactly. It's just myself, but a different form.
Yeah. Well, some folks say that it actually lets them be themselves more than they would normally, because you can be a little goofier and stretch things out a little bit, and be a little more open and not have, like you said, the eyes on you while you're doing it. You can still express yourself without necessarily being yourself.
Yes,
You found that to
because
be
like,
true.
oh, what's up?
You found that to be true.
Honestly, yeah, I find that way a little more true because like it kind of feels like you're so when you're behind a model, you feel more confident in yourself because like you're not thinking about the physical you, you're thinking about the character you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like thinking about that you're the character
Mm-hmm.
and all the times of like watching cartoons and such, you realize oh it's okay for characters to mess up. Um so I think maybe that also helps a lot with building up confidence
Yeah.
and letting you let out who you actually are on the inside.
Mhm. Let out your inner weirdo.
Yes, exactly.
And he's in there somewhere. Let him out. But with the folks who started in on your stream with you, when you know, I know people say they don't look at the numbers, but I'm sure that first everybody looks at numbers a little bit, and you see there's a few people watching, and did that affect you when you realized that you did actually have an audience?
So I've been streaming for like 3 years. I've been very used to like having a concurrent viewers of like 0 to 1, but whenever I do have like more, which was like possibly 3 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be more energetic. Like I like get a lot of like be more energetic and try to like um speak more often, make more jokes and such. But nowadays, even if I have like no viewers or anything like that, I still try to like do that. Um, because I know for a fact that I'm gonna be making that into a VOD and I'm gonna be like um possibly uploading it to YouTube, so it'll be good to actually have it as like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Still of me being energetic, though.
Yeah. It's also, if nothing else, good, and if this is maybe not quite good business practice. Um, because you, if you set yourself to a standard in anything like that, in any type of performance, and I don't care what stage or whatever, if you set yourself to a standard when it's just yourself and it's a high standard, you're going to be automatically at that high standard when somebody else joins you.
Yeah, I know I always hear a lot when people say, "Don't turn off viewers, turn off view numbers, don't look at the view numbers." But I kind of feel like if I do turn it off, I don't feel the motivation to try to do better because
Mm,
I feel like I want to set standards for myself
right.
so that way I can try to improve and get better, and I know what's actually working and what's actually making me like be a better streamer.
Mm. Now,
Because I want to like keep. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was
Oh,
agreeing with you.
because like I want to keep be getting better as a streamer, and like I really want to like reach out to like a lot of people, like make more people like just laugh, make them entertain them more. I want them to feel like, oh man, today was a bad day. Funny Dino Man. Now my day's better. I kind of want to like have that kind of effect on people.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way to do that would be to improve myself as a streamer more. And
Mhm.
I'm still fighting. And even though I've been doing this for 3 years, I still want to keep improving.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to adapt a little bit, and things happen, and sometimes there's different things you want to do with your stream, and yeah, sometimes you're in a different mood. Maybe you're a little sillier today than normal, or you really want to get this game beat, and there's that to take into effect. Uh, would would Tio watch Tio?
Oh wait, what?
That's
I'm,
it.
I'm,
It's a one of those questions, rhetorical-ish questions. Would you watch yourself if you saw if there was a separate you on there. Um, are you doing the stuff that you would like to watch as a stream watcher?
Honestly, yeah, I kind of would because a lot of times I would just do streams that I would enjoy myself a lot, or I would enjoy seeing myself like sort of suffer through. Because it feels like it's more entertaining to see someone struggling and then they get better, and then see like them make mistakes in the game.
Yeah.
Um, it's I feel like it's a little more entertaining than seeing someone constantly succeed over and over again. Because if like you're seeing someone constantly like win, like there's what's the fun in that, you know?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's the reason why I don't stream because I don't want anybody to suffer from my greatness. You laugh too quick, just like my wife. Laugh too quick. Now, the with the going online, what type of games are you playing when you're streaming?
I actually play quite a variety. I try to avoid games that would take a very, very, very long time to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember, like, I'm making that mistake right now, actually, because I'm streaming Skyrim,
Nope.
and you know for a fact that that's gonna take forever to finish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I'm also streaming Wukong, but I do also do a lot of online multiplayer games, particularly Smite, which is a MOBA.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also try to do a lot of other like sort of short story-based games. So really, I want to say the games I do the most are going to be the ones that are story-driven.
Yeah,
Those are the main bread and butter that I do, with
yeah.
an occasional like multiplayer sprinkled in.
Are those the ones that would you rather have some of those story games that kind of diverge a little bit and give you different paths to the finish, or the story games that are kind of dragging you along in the general direction of a finish?
Mm, that's kind of a good question. I think it would depend on the execution, really, because if I feel like like if it's a clear and obvious distraction from the main story, or a clear and obvious distraction, like it's like it's trying to drag the story along instead of like was getting to the point sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like very obvious. I tend to like dislike it, but if it's blending it very well with the main story of the game, and I don't feel like it's dragging, and I feel like it's a part of it, then I would definitely would continue it.
Yeah, there is a big difference, and when I've watched folks play like visual novel type games, I put games in parentheses with that because all right, because it does seem to those seem to be you're going to finish the game no matter how you play it, and it's going to come to the finish because but there's other games that give you like different options, different ends, depending on your choices in the game. I always tend to like those more because I mean, if I fail, I'm going to fail spectacularly. I'm not
Go out
gonna,
with a bang.
yeah, I'm not going to necessarily fail upwards until I learn all the cheats. So, but it does make a difference for me. And how do you think that goes across while you're streaming? Do you take that into account when you choose a game to go on?
Honestly, yes, I do, but sometimes I don't. Like, it depends really on the game.
Hmm.
If I feel like the game is gonna be like taking a long time, but I'm completely well aware that it's gonna like whatever's gonna happen, I'm just gonna get an ending. But it's just like I know exactly what's gonna happen, but it's just taking me like too long to get there. Um, I might actually like drop it. One example would be Digimon Survive. When I first started streaming it, I was like, okay, this is taking a while. And it wasn't until I found out that you really get into the bulk of the game 10 hours into the game. And I'm like thinking, yeah, okay, yeah, that's gonna I don't think I'm gonna continue that one. But if it's something that's like straightforward, like we make a lot of progress in it, um, I would definitely continue it.
It's one of those games that that you think you're near the finish, and this is now your quest has begun.
Oh, exactly. I also kind of hate those 'cause it's like, oh my God, like all the hell I went through finally. I mean, I'm making some progress. Oh, by the way, there's a lot more you gotta do. Fuck!
And not only that, but you get some games that that you fight your way through to a certain level. It says now your quest has begun, and then you're too overpowered to enjoy the rest of the way.
Oh my God, yeah. I honestly try to avoid that so much. It's a little thing I call Saitama syndrome. When
Mm-hmm.
you're so strong, no fight is actually satisfying.
Yep, yep,
And it's something I fell into when I first played Skyrim back on the 360 days.
yeah,
I got so powerful that fighting the last DLC boss known as Mirak, he was hyped up as to be like the last Dragonborn. He's like super powerful and everything.
right.
And I was able to beat him in like less than a minute. The fight didn't feel satisfying like at all. And
But
it's just like a fear of my where I
he's,
don't want to be strong. Like it's not like I don't want to be strong. I want to have fun with the fight, kind of like the Goku mentality.
yeah, yeah. It's not. It's you want to feel accomplished when you're beating it. It's like sometimes you go through and it's like sandblasting a soup cracker. It's going to be pretty easy, but but
Yeah, exactly.
but you want to have a little challenge anyway. Maybe you don't necessarily have to win the first try. Maybe it takes a couple tries to do it. But there's just some of those games where um, I'll point out to Fallout New Vegas actually because I love that game. I play it a lot.
Oh, that's a great game.
But there are if you go through all the DLCs and you're as high as you're going to get, and every encounter is pretty much a unless you really screw up. Pretty much every encounter is a run through at that point.
Especially the quarry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's which actually I kind of enjoy going in there full power and just blowing things up.
Not gonna lie, I kind of enjoyed it too, especially with the what was that? Fat Boy, Little Boy?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
yeah, you know which
Boom.
one I'm talking about, right?
Yes. The fat boy is what it is. Yep. The big boom.
Yes, there we go, the Fat Boy.
Watch.
Just blowing up the Death Claw babies and their mommy.
I was when I started finally getting into 3 and New Vegas. I haven't been able to get 4 to work on my old laptop. Um, I was having shock with the death claws because I played 1 and 2, and the death claws in 1 and 2 are pretty nasty. I mean, you have to shoot them in the eyes, otherwise it's not going to do any damage. And if you get them early in the game, you might as well just run head first into them and die because you're not going to beat them. It was I was a little PTSD'd with that, unfortunately, going in. But then once you get to the point where they're just another NPC to deal with, um, it gets to be a little easy. It is kind of fun blowing up super mutants though when you're way overpowered.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then of
I
course you go through with the cheats and it's even easier.
Yep, and I kind of feel like I think that's another reason why, like for me, I don't really like. I enjoyed Fallout 4. It's super fun, but one thing that irks me was the fact that they kind of made Death Claws easier to deal with.
Mm,
Same for Super Mutants.
yeah,
And it kind of feels like when they add like when they get a legendary buff or whatever,
right.
it's just like a band-aid on like a bigger issue. Like, yeah, you're dealing with a stronger enemy, but you're just buffing up their health and damage. There's really nothing much else to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, like the only thing that becomes a challenge with super mutants though is just the oh god, the nuclear one. The
yeah.
one that will run up to you with a
With a bomb.
nuclear bomb
Yeah,
and all you hear is that threatening beep beep beep
yeah.
beep 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 beep.
Yeah, I just Like, no, you stay back there, just run, try pot shot on your way back, or throw mines at him or something. That's how I had to deal with those Mirelurks once. I'd run out of
Oh
everything,
yeah,
so
Mirelurks.
and I was very early in the game, and here comes the Mirelurk, and I'm just tossing tossing mines in front of me as I run backwards
Random bullshit, go.
and run right into another Mirelurk. Oops, that didn't help at all. Um, so what have you got planned for your channel? Have you got some big events coming up? Have you have some goals that you've set?
Um, I just recently had like my birthday stream where I started Skyrim, and I plan on, well, quote unquote, finishing it with
Mm-hmm.
the Legacy of the Dragonborn mod, which is pretty much a like complete collect everything and complete everything sort of mod.
Oh,
Um, but so far right now, I don't really have much like events planned. But for my future goals, though, I do want to eventually start a charity stream
mm,
for wildlife conservation. And like every stream would be like for the conservation of a different animal. And the first one I want it to be for the pangolin, considering that they're an animal that's always like the big target of poaching, mainly
right.
for their scales and the pet trade. And sadly, they're a very critically endangered species, especially the Chinese pangolin.
Uh-huh. I just don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. I have cats, okay? I, I don't understand why people want exotic animals necessarily as pets. Um, but in it just all it's really doing is messing them up and messing up the ecosphere where they're normally at and giving them a very weak chance of making it into the next century. I don't understand that sort of thing.
Yeah, like I think it has to do with the fact of it gives you like some like status.
Mm,
There's like a status symbol, but also I've noticed a reason like rise in them being used for social media popularity.
oh, geez.
And I know you probably ever heard about like with Mudang from the little baby hippo from the zoos.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um yeah, so I don't have no problem with Mudang. Mudang's absolutely adorable, but I do feel that videos like those, and this also happened with Finding Nemo,
Hmm.
where people see the animal on screen, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's cute. I kind of want one." And like, I'm gonna use Finding Nemo as an example. So when Finding Nemo first came out, people would be like, the sales of clownfish
Yeah.
and I forgot what bluefish Dory is.
Dory. Yeah, it is a Dory.
Yeah, I would call them Dory. I would call them Dories because I actually, oh, blue tangs.
Blue tanks. Okay.
Um, the sale of clownfish and blue tangs like spiked up because people were like, oh, like people will be buying clownfish and blue tangs for their kids because
Mm.
they stopped finding Nemo. They want their own Nemo, and unfortunately, they can't provide the proper care that these animals need. Like, yeah, sure, they're fish, but still, it's an animal. It's still a living creature that requires special care to actually survive.
Yeah.
And sadly, they don't when they're kept in captivity in certain captivity conditions that
Mm.
isn't properly provided.
You mean I just can't scoop up a bunch of mud from my puddle and stick them in there?
Unfortunately, you cannot.
I'll put them in there with my giant catfish. That'll work
Oh yeah, that'll definitely work. They'll be best
for
friends.
a couple of seconds. That'll.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll go for a ride inside the catfish like a big bus.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a bus ride.
yeah. I'm sure the catfish will enjoy every bit of it, actually. But
Exactly.
again, it's a question of I want it rather than I can deal with it or I can handle it or it's good for them, the animal, no matter what you're talking about. So, I mean, it is basically status type things. Um, so, uh, What do you know which type of fund, which fund you would be working with or want to work with?
Um, it
Event?
depends. I think it really depends on like which one would support the animal for each streams I would doing. But I do would like to work with like bird sanctuaries,
Mhm.
sanctuaries that would that try to help big cats. I do want to like do a stream where all the proceeds, all like the money gained from that stream would go towards like a zoo,
Mm,
like to a zoo for help with their conservation programs.
that's good.
Um, elephant rehabilitation centers like in Africa,
Oh yeah,
for pandas, those ones for the ones for tigers, like I always mentioned well, I actually mentioned big cats, so I guess it's the same thing, but
yeah.
birds of prey,
Hmm.
a lot of like organizations, honestly. Um, I did recently follow the wildlife conservation organization that they recently opened up a Twitter page where they they help promote certain streams are actually raising money for wildlife conservation, and I also hope to like work with them too as
Yeah,
well one day.
that's cool. That's a great goal. That's a great goal. I can tell you something though. We could have a stream to get rid of some of the Canadian geese.
uh, you mean the chicken cobras?
Oh my gosh, those things are everywhere. I mean, and we can't do anything with them other than honk our horns at them when they're in the middle of the road.
I heard they're very like actually violent. I have a friend from Canada who he actually almost got into a fight with one, but he tried to avoid the fight.
Oh yeah.
But the geese wanted to fight.
Oh, they'll hiss at you and then come charging at you, and then you're like, these things aren't very small. They get fairly big, and I don't move very fast, so they're
Oh yeah, I've seen how big they are.
yeah,
They're big.
yeah, and they'll eat anything. I mean,
Really?
oh gosh, I tossed them a cheeseburger once.
You fool, what have you done? Now they got a taste of flesh.
That's why they gather around all the time in every shopping mall across America, in the middle of farm fields for no particular reason. It's like you idiots. That's not even water.
It's
So-
because they know they're gonna get something because all they gotta do is just scare people
oh,
and they'll get what they want.
you talk about your policies. Like, try to keep the Canadian geese away. Find some way to shoo them around the United States. It's absolute pleasure to talk with you, and I hope that you get exactly what you're looking for. It would be great to see those charity streams come up, and with the wildlife groups push, um, maybe you'll be able to get a lot of support for it. And I imagine it would depend on which animal too, because people are interested in different types of animals. But
I hope like that a lot of animals do get like like it does bring up interest for like a lot of animals, but I'm hoping that it at least brings attention to the conservation issues that they're facing.
mhm, yeah, and people need to get the sleep out of their eyes and realize what's going on with some of these things, um, before we lose them completely. We've had a few success stories, which is heartening. Um, but again, for every one that comes back, there's a few more that go on the list, and
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah, we do as best we can. Uh, I really appreciate you coming on. We're going to have the links to everything that you got going on in the description for this interview. And once you got to get some things rolling again with those streams and what you have, just come back on, please. We'll talk some more and we'll find out what you got cooking.
I would love to actually. And thank you so much for having me. It was a really good time here.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.